Most guys don't actually understand what it means when a woman leaves them. That's why they spend all their time chasing and trying to get her back. Today I'm going to teach you why you should never chase a woman and try to get her back, why your value is way more than that, and how you can actually become the man she regrets ever leaving. So let's get into it. But before we do, first I want to tell you how I know this. Back in 2020, right before COVID hit, I went through a brutal breakup after almost 10 years with a woman I thought I was going to marry. That experience forced me to rebuild my life from the ground up. Since then, I completely transformed my life, built multiple businesses, and moved to Mexico, and I'm now living my dream life. And if it wasn't for that breakup, none of this would have happened. So if you've recently gone through a breakup and you're feeling stuck and you want to learn why this is actually the best thing that ever happened to you, watch this video till the end. Here's what you're going to learn: what her leaving really means and why men often miss this lesson, what to do instead of trying to get her back and the fatal mistakes you must avoid, and finally, how you can use this breakup to become the hero of your own story. That last one is crucial, so make sure you stick around for that. Okay, let's dive in. So what does it mean when a woman leaves you? The harsh truth is that when a woman breaks up with you, it means she made a bet against your future. She's decided that you as a man and the relationship and future you could have together are not her best option. She's decided that another man or life without you is a better option. And you might be like, well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. But that's an important realization to have. Because if you really understand that, you understand that she's betting against you. She's betting against your potential as a man. So the first question you have to ask yourself is, if a woman is betting against your future, then why would you want her? Why would you ever want to spend another second with a woman who's betting against your potential and betting that your future is not something she would want to be a part of? So that's the first question you have to ask yourself, and we'll come back to that a little later. But first, let's talk about why this happens and the truth about your value as a man, which is most likely not what you think it is. See, women are intrinsically valued for their looks. Men, not so much. We're valued for our character, our accomplishments, and our capabilities. And also our masculine energy, which they crave, which a woman craves on a very deep level. And this is not something that can be quantified simply by money or success or status, although that is also very important to women. The reality is the value that you possess as a man goes far deeper and is far greater than only what's in your bank account or you as a provider. As men, we're kind of taught to believe we don't have that much value to women, and that we're kind of the disposable sex and the undervalued sex in society when it comes to sexuality and relationships. And that's because men don't understand their value to women. So you have to understand how valuable you are to women and all the different ways you offer and provide value to women. So on the very basic level, which is what society tells you, you're valuable to possibly provide resources and financial security and to provide her with offspring and, children and procreation. But you're also valuable to women in a different way. You're valuable to them because you provide them the masculine energy that they need and that they crave. You offer them your masculine strength and presence. You offer them leadership. You offer them amazing sex and sexual fulfillment. You offer them the dominance that they crave and the boundaries that they need. You offer all of this to a woman as a man. And you also offer them the value of challenging them to grow and better themselves and develop and unfold themselves to their highest level. And that's so much value that you're offering. But you're only offering all this value if you actually step up in these ways. Because on a primal, instinctual level, those are the things she's going to pay attention to. She's going to pay attention to how well you're able to lead her and how decisive you are, how assertive you are, and how much you take charge, your body language and your tonality when interacting with her, how dominant you are and how you're treated by other people, how good you are in bed and what you do with her and how dominant you are in bed, how desired you are by other women. That's a really big one. If you react to her more than she reacts to you, if you seek her approval and validation, whether or not you're able to hold boundaries with her and how much you follow through on them with actions and not just words, how much disrespect you tolerate and how willing you are to walk away, how easily she's able to manipulate you and get you to bend to her whims. But all of this is sub-communicated to her through your behavior and your actions. how you hold the frame or don't hold the frame with her in the relationship. This tells her how you perceive your value in comparison to her value. So all of that plays into her perception of your value. So ultimately, if you're not carrying yourself the right way as a man, if you're not showing the kind of character that subcommunicates that you have those traits, then she's going to feel like her value is higher than yours. And if she feels like her value is higher than yours, then she's not going to be able to bet on your future, because she's going to feel like you're not going to be able to lead her where she wants to go. And on a primal instinctual level, she's going to feel like if she was to mate with you, it's most likely that your offspring would not survive. But a lot of guys get this twisted, because I've worked with multimillionaires and they still have the same exact issues with women. And it's because they don't, down deep, they don't believe they really deserve the woman. And so they subcommunicate all of that, because it's not just about your money and your status. It's about your survival and replication value, which is much deeper. And women pay attention to what are called honest signals of how you carry yourself in your interactions and relationship with them. And that's how they determine your level of value. Because you might fool them in the beginning a little bit if you have some money and status, but the moment you're in their presence, it's all about how you make them feel and your ability to demonstrate that you have those masculine traits that are going to tell them, oh, he's a good bet to bet on, not just as a provider, but as someone that's going to be able to hold the fort, as someone that's going to be able to have the boundaries that I need to protect me, and to, that he's going to be a good bet to have children with, because what that means is that our offspring will most likely survive, right? Money doesn't tell her that. It's all these other things that tell her that. So all this goes much deeper, and a lot of times it requires you to do some very deep healing to truly transform yourself into the kind of man that actually sees himself as worthy and deserving of the kind of woman that he wants, so that then you show up with her in that relationship in a way where that's how she feels. She feels lucky to be with you, not the other way around. Okay, so I could go even deeper into all of that, but hopefully you have some idea now of the truth of your real value as a man, what women are actually looking for, and why they leave you, right? Not just why they leave you, but what it means when they leave you, right? Which is that they're betting against your potential as a man and against your future and your ability to be that kind of man that's going to signal to them that you're a good bet for procreation. That's on a fundamental level, on a subconscious level, always what's going on in a woman's mind on a primal level, whether she's aware of it or not. So what does that mean for you? It means that if a woman is betting against your future as a man, right, and that you don't have the internal qualities and character and everything else, capabilities, to become that man that she would want to procreate with, because she doesn't feel like your offspring are going to survive, then what does that mean? It means that you need to take this as an opportunity to prove her fucking wrong. So this is the moment you decide to prove that belief that she has about you wrong. Because down deep, deep inside you, you are that man. You're capable of that. And if you don't feel that way now, you can become that man, right? And I'm going to tell you a little more about how to do that a little later in this video. But ultimately, you have to decide. You have to make a decision, right? That ultimately, right now, you are deciding to prove that belief wrong that she had about you. And I got to be honest. I would say, prove her wrong, get that revenge. Success is the best revenge, and make her regret it. And yeah, there's some satisfaction to that and some truth to that. And if that fuels you, then use it, right? If that's going to help you be motivated to prove that, then fucking do it. But ultimately, you want to be doing it for yourself. Rather than proving it to her, prove it to yourself. Because that's going to be way more powerful at the end of the day than if you prove it to her. Do it for you. All right, so hopefully now you've made the decision that you're going to prove that belief wrong. And that ultimately, you're going to do it for yourself, to prove that to yourself. Now let's talk about what to do instead of trying to get her back. Because this is where a lot of guys really mess up, and it ends up causing them so much unnecessary pain. So let's talk about what to do instead of trying to get her back, and what are the fatal mistakes you must avoid. Well, firstly, you have to realize that a man with self-respect is not going to chase a woman who's betting against him, right? So that's the first thing you have to have that realization around, is that you have to stop chasing any woman who's betting against you. Now, what does that actually mean? It means you have to set boundaries. It means you have to cut off all communication. It means you have to go no contact. Because if someone doubts you, then they no longer get access to you. And look, I know this is easier said than done, especially if you really did love this woman and if you felt like you had a really deep connection. That loss of that connection to just go cold turkey like that, it's not easy. It can be extremely painful. It's like you're losing a limb or someone's dying or a part of you is dying, right? It's like literally a death of a former self, of a possible future vision that you were holding. Like there's so much that's involved in that loss. So it makes sense that it would be challenging to do this, but you have no choice. You have to go no contact. That's what's going to allow you to reconnect to yourself and begin to actually take your power back so you can get the clarity that you need, step back into your power, your masculinity, and actually move on. And by the way, a lot of guys try to go no contact, but they always end up messing it up because they don't know how to do it the right way. There's actually a lot to it. You need to understand to do it properly. So if this is something you're struggling with, if you're feeling stuck after a breakup and having a hard time moving on, I created a free guide to help you completely get over your ex. Okay, so you can do no contact the right way, know exactly what to do so you can finally move on, take your power back, and start becoming the man she regrets losing. So if you want access to that, just click the first link in the description. Okay, so let's talk about why it's so important to not try to get her back and the fatal mistakes you must avoid that most men make. So the reason it's so important to not try to get her back is because anything that you do to try to get her back does nothing but lower your value. And this is the first mistake that most men make, is they try to win her back. And this just further lowers their value. And it was already low because she broke up with you because she perceived your value as low, lower than hers, right? So anything you do to try to win her back, you're just plummeting your value lower and lower and lower. You have to see it through the woman's perspective. She already determined that you were not her best option and that your value was too low for her to continue to be within a relationship. The more that you try to convince her otherwise or win her back, you're doing nothing but showing her that she made the right choice and that your value is even lower than she even thought it was. So that's the first fatal mistake you must avoid. The next mistake that most men make is they lose themselves in regret instead of rebuilding. And the reason for that is because they don't actually grieve the loss properly. So they haven't healed. And the first step of rebuilding is healing. I see this all the time with my clients. When they first come to me, they're just stuck in thought loops of regret and they feel lost and depressed. And that's because they're living in the past, because they haven't truly grieved the loss. They've just tried to push through it or cover it up with distractions or vices to numb the pain. But that doesn't work. Speaking as someone who was a therapist for almost 10 years before I became a dating and mindset coach and then a breakup coach, the truth is that pain will just stay stuck inside you until you intentionally move through it and fully move through all 5 stages of grief. I could do a whole video on the 5 stages of grief and how to actually go through them fully. If you want me to make that video, let me know in the comments and I'll make that for you. But there's no avoiding this. You have to move through the pain and allow yourself to feel whatever you need to feel and give yourself full permission to do so. If you want to heal, the only way out is through. And the other reason guys stay stuck in regret is because since they haven't truly grieved the loss, they're constantly thinking about it. And there's a law of the universe that says whatever you think about grows. It magnifies and multiplies. Whatever you focus on expands. So it makes sense that you just stay stuck in the same thought loops. Not only that, but what you think about dictates the emotions you feel. So if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts and your thoughts are focused on the past and dwelling on regret, then you're going to constantly feel negative emotions. And this loop is just going to repeat over and over again. But again, distracting yourself from those thoughts and feelings won't work because whatever we resist persists. So this is why guys stay stuck in the same place for months or even years after a breakup. Okay, so hopefully all this is making sense. By the way, if it is making sense and you're getting value from this, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, because I got a lot more fire videos coming very soon and you don't want to miss them. All right, so the other mistake you must avoid is letting her leaving define you. You have to remember that this is just one chapter of your life and you're the author of this book. You still have many chapters left to write, so don't let this one define you. grab the pen back. And here's the hack to this. You have to remember that events and experiences are neutral. Inherently, they're neither good nor bad. We are the ones who give them meaning, and we can choose to assign whatever meaning to them we want. So you have to assign the meaning that serves you. You can either look at this breakup as a terrible thing and assign the meaning that it means that you're not good enough and you're a failure and you're not lovable and you're not desirable and every woman will always end up leaving you and you're gonna die alone and you should just give up. Or you can assign the meaning that this is happening for you and not to you, and that it's actually a blessing in disguise because you're destined for way better things. And this is just your initiation into becoming that next level version of you and taking your identity and life to a whole new level. And that being forged through this fire is what's going to turn you into the beast you're going to become. So remember, her leaving does not define you. The meaning you choose to attach to it does, along with your next actions. But here's the thing, when you assign the right meaning to it, your thoughts about it change and your perception becomes reality and your actions will follow suit. And this is how you can use this breakup to become the hero of your own story, by using it as a catalyst for transformation to become the version of you who's so undeniable that any woman you ever choose to be with would feel lucky to have and really stupid if she ever lost. And if you really allow this to be your great initiation onto that path and you take that call to become the hero of your own story, then when you look back on this breakup, that future version of yourself will thank her for breaking up with you. And you will truly feel like this was the best thing that ever happened to you. Now, obviously, there's a lot that goes into this process, and this is exactly what I help my clients with. We're just scratching the surface here. So if you want help with this so you can truly heal, rebuild, and become that hero of your own story so no woman ever bets against you again, there's a link in the description to book a free strategy call. On that call, we can dive deeper into your specific situation and talk about where you are now and where you'd like to be. And if it feels like a good fit, then we can work together. And if not, no problem. Either way, you'll still come away with a ton of value. So if you're interested in that, link in the description to book a call. All right, guys, that's it for today. It's been a pleasure, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.